Are you on the receiving end of breadcrumbing? Or have you actually maybe found someone that has healthy boundaries and you can't quite tell the difference? Let's dig into it. But first, I'm Nancy Cooper, the Activation Alchemist, and I'm here to help you reconnect with your higher consciousness so that you can make alignment your default setting and finally create that yummy reality your soul actually came here to experience. Okay, so this is something that has come up with some of my clients and honestly for myself in the past, where when we have been in relationships, when we have been in different types of experiences where we have been made to feel like we are not a priority, that asking for the bare minimum is asking for too much, and that we are not deserving or worthy of being pursued and treated in a way that aligns with how we want to be treated. We can find that things become confusing when we start dating a new person or start talking to a new person. And so I want to help you navigate this so that you can start rebuilding that trust within yourself. This is a very common issue with people who have suffered under things like covert narcissism, having a mother or a father or a parent, like a grandparent, somebody who was our caregiver, or have had a relationship with someone who was more of that like covert narcissist, where it left us very confused. Like, what's going on here? Are they being mean to me? Am I selfish? Am I the problem here? What's happening? We get very, very confused, right? And so when it comes to re-navigating the dating realm or really any type of new relationship, we find that it's hard to trust ourselves. And so I really want to help give you very clear, defined outlines for how to differentiate between breadcrumbing and someone who actually has healthy boundaries and has a life, but are trying to make room to include you in it and build a relationship, okay? So first and foremost, breadcrumbing, we'll start with that one, is going to have an energy within it that leaves you feeling very confused, very unclear as to, like, does this person like me? Are they interested in me? Where do I stand with them? They're going to also lack clarity, like someone who's doing this, the conversation, the situation, it's gonna be very, very unclear, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that right off the bat, the lack of clarity is clarity, okay? And if you're sitting in this situation going, what is going on? That is enough for you to know, no, this is not gonna work out for me. Like, this is not for me, okay? Because you're always gonna be left wondering, and you're gonna always stay in that space of second guessing yourself, okay? This is someone who lacks their own clarity. This is someone who lacks leadership. This is someone who lacks that embodiment within themselves of, I know what I want and I'm clear about it, and I'm going to get it, and I'm going to be very honest about that. Okay, so the lack of clarity should be clarity for you that this is breadcrumbing, okay? And it's a problem. We need to discontinue, pull the plug on it, okay? There's also not going to be any forward movement with this individual. And what I mean by that is through these engagements or these conversations in this situationship, there's not going to be any motion. This is someone that you would probably end up having a weird random texting conversation relationship with for months and never see them, never hang out. They never initiate a date. Nothing ever happens, okay? That is another form of breadcrumbing, okay? So these are kind of the energies that are around this. There's also going to be a lack of engagement. Like, this person is going to feel very disengaged. They're going to be very hot and cold. It's going to be like all over the place. At one moment, it seems like they're super interested in you and they want to text you all day long. And then the next moment, they drop off the face of the earth and then come up with some lame excuse, okay? or it's like there's no consistency and they're not highly engaged in this whatever is going on. Okay. It's just like, oh, I'm lonely right now. I've got some downtime, so I'll text this person because they're available. But then when they have more exciting things or something better to do, then you're chopped liver and you're on the back burner and you've been forgotten about. Okay? These are things to pay attention to. Those are all going to be energies around breadcrumbing. So let's dive into what it looks like a little bit more. Okay? So we're going to get short responses. Responses like, cool, or okay, or like you share this thing about, hey, this crazy thing happened today. Da, 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 da. I thought you'd love to hear about this. And then they're like, nice. Okay. I'm laughing because we've been there. We've been there. Okay. Or we say something, we share, and they're like, truth. It's like, okay, cool. Now, don't get me wrong. Every now and then, people do get busy and they're trying to, like, maybe as a single parent like myself, they've got their child being rambunctious or something going on, and they see this, they read it, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. So they just respond back like, that's so funny, right? Because they don't have the emotional bandwidth. But later, once things have settled down, they will re-engage in that conversation. Hey, sorry for the short response earlier. This is what was happening. This is what I wanted to say about this. Okay? That's going to help you differentiate within that, right? If there's never an explanation later, and let me clarify this. The explanation is not because someone feels like they have to explain themselves. They're explaining because they're not an asshole. They're explaining because they are respectful. They want to be treated the way, or they treat others the way that they want to be treated, right? So I wouldn't want someone to just send me that short like response, then be like, oh, okay. And like, but then later if they're like, hey, et cetera, this is what's going on. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Totally understand. Like, that's a very different thing. Okay. So those short responses, or the next one would be like the ghosting for 8 hours plus. Like, let's be real. There is nobody that busy. I'm sorry. There is nobody that busy that they don't have their phone on them. And if you are at all on their priority list, they will get back to you. Like, they will get back to you. Okay. And if they haven't, they will tell you the next day or 3 days later why and what happened. Okay. So if you're having like this conversation and then they just drop off or fade away, and it's like, wait, what happened? And it's like hours. I'm not talking about like an average, I have client calls. Sometimes I'm on there for 2 hours. I can't be texting with somebody, right? But when I hop off, I check my phone, I check my alerts to see if my VA has messaged me or my business manager has messaged me. So I check, right? I'm looking. So if I see a text from someone who I'm interested in, of course, I'm going to be interested and excited to see that and respond, right? Like, unless somebody is like I don't know, like a doctor working in an ER, like if they're waiting more than 8 hours to text you, that's a red flag. There's a red flag there somewhere, okay? Just, there is. Another thing is going to be they ghost for days and then send you those little like, hi or sup or how are you? Those ones are interesting. How are you? I don't know. We were having a conversation. You just disappeared for 4 days. How would you be? Like, why are you sending that? It's like they're either clueless or they don't care, right? Okay. So like the random, hey, these are usually going to be late at night too. Okay. We know why. Okay. So that's going to give you a basic idea of what's going on. And I will say too that late at night thing, that is also going to be for women doing that, especially ones that are busy moms, single moms, divorced moms. If a female is doing the breadcrumbing where they're just liking that ego boost, that dopamine hit, they're going to wait till the kids are down, everything is quiet, and then they're going to be, oh, give me my dopamine hit from my crappy day today. But again, there's not going to be any type of forward motion or movement towards like, let's actually hang out. Let's actually do something. Let's actually grow a relationship. Let's actually build something. It's like this situationship just, it exists within a bubble. Okay. That is all breadcrumbing. And this is not, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay. So if you're someone who genuinely wants a relationship and wants to find someone who can honor and love you the way that you desire to be loved, if you're noticing these red flags, you're probably going to see them within the first, honestly, I would say the first month. Like if someone hasn't really set a date or squared away time to hang out with you within about 2 weeks of starting to talk, if it's gotten to a month, no, nope. Okay. You've gone into, I don't even know what we would call that. Texting bubble, like this vortex into no man's land of this is going nowhere. Okay. So what does it look like when we start talking to someone who actually has boundaries? And I want to bring this up because it's something that I see happening with my clients, and it is something that has happened with me as well. Again, when we have been in these patterns of we feel like we have to regulate someone or constantly prove ourselves and our worth and how valuable we are and all of that kind of stuff to have someone be interested in us, right? When we start engaging with someone who actually is healthy and not looking to have just a texting dopamine hit buddy, like y'all, use ChatGPT for that. I'm serious. I'll talk to you all day long and stroke your ego. Like, do that instead. Okay? Like seriously. But when you find someone who is genuinely in a space where they're looking for a co-creative, healthy relationship, they are happy and satisfied in their life, they are accomplished, they're successful, they're not going to be texting you all day long. Okay? So this is something that actually can create activity in the body. Okay, it can activate us. It can almost feel triggering because we're like, wait, why aren't they texting me all the time? Because this might also be something that we have experienced when we've been dating someone, is that person that doesn't know how to emotionally regulate themselves or is needing those dopamine hits all day. So they're blowing up our phone all day. So when we go into a situation with someone who's not doing that, there can be that feeling of, do they even like me? Are they even interested? Right? Okay, so something to bear witness to, not react or respond in that energy. This is where self-sabotage happens. Okay, so if you're feeling that, either way, and either one, I'm doing this because I have notes. Either one of these situations, we want to be in observation mode. We don't need to be emotionally invested this early. Okay, we're going to stay in observation mode. We're going to say, let this person show me what they're about. Okay, where they are. So if we can stay in that observation mode, we can observe how certain behaviors are making us feel. Okay. And if we're going into this going like, why don't I have to like prove myself? Or why aren't I having to like regulate this person? Why aren't they blowing up my phone all day? Pay attention to that. Okay. Just make note of it. Be in observation mode. Okay. So when we're dealing with someone who has boundaries and they're in a healthy place, again, they're going to have a life. They're going to have things that they're doing. They're going to have a business or a job that they love. They're going to have family. They're going to have extracurricular activities. They're going to have things that are happening in their life. Okay. So they are not going to respond to a message immediately all the time. Okay. So this is where we're going to look for like within about 3 hours. Okay. 3 to 4 hours. If it's gone past that, this is where we start to, it's like what is that? Like an orange flag. It's kind of like, what's going on here? This is a regular pattern. Okay. But if not, it's something to watch, right? We're staying in observation mode. We really should be in observation mode for the first 90 days of starting to talk to somebody. Just saying. Okay. So paying attention to that. How long is it taking them to respond back to a message? And am I sending too many messages? Okay. So something that is not breadcrumbing is them not replying to a message after, say, like 10 o'clock and waiting till the next day. So you might be up. That might be the time that you're like, oh, I can talk. But they have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to hit the gym before going to work or something. So they're asleep, right? So they're not breadcrumbing you because they're not available to you at that time. They have a life and they're sleeping. Okay? So this is something where we have to look at and say, gosh, am I looking for this person to regulate me? And that's why it's activating me that they're not available to me right now. Okay? Everything's feedback with love. All right? So that's a sign. That's not breadcrumbing. That's a boundary. They're tired. They need to go to bed. Okay? I think I kind of went over this a little bit already, but like not texting all day long, but sends intentional texts, then sticks around for the conversation. How many times have you been doing that? Like somebody sends you a text message, hey, how was your day? And then you respond within like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And you don't hear back from them for like a day. And it's like, why did you ask if you weren't going to like stick around for the conversation? That's breadcrumbing. Okay. Someone sends the intentional text saying like, hey, how was your day? And you engage. If they're genuinely interested in how your day went, they're going to send that text when they're available to participate in that conversation. Okay. They're going to stay engaged in that conversation with you. All right. So that is something important to watch as well. They're also not going to just drop off in the middle of a conversation. Like if you're going back and forth, has that happened to you before as well, where you're back and forth, you're texting, and then all of a sudden they just, it's like, where'd they go? They vanished. What happened? They fell into a hole. If you're dealing with someone who has healthy boundaries, you're having a conversation and something comes up. Hey, I'm sorry, my kid just got home. I'll have to pick this up later. Or, hey, sorry, I've got a meeting started. Or, hey, this has been so fun. I've got to get back to this. I'll text you later. And then they do, right? Okay. Things to pay attention to. Watch. Because how we do one thing is how we do everything. And if someone is showing up flaky and just out of alignment right from the get-go, y'all, it's not going to get better. It is not going to get better. No matter how much you harp on them or no matter how much potential you have, like seen in this person. It's not. Okay. And then the last thing here, when you're dealing with someone who has healthy boundaries, that has a healthy life, they've done their work on themselves, they're going to be intentional. Okay. They're going to be very intentional. They are going to be trying to drive the connection forward, not in a love bomby way. Okay. Gotta watch out for that. But in an intentional way. Like, what are you doing this weekend? I was thinking we could go do this. Or, hey, are you available for lunch this week? Or something. Like, they're going to be trying to drive it forward. They're going to be initiating, especially if this is a masculine, they're definitely going to be initiating. If you are a feminine, I personally would recommend to sit back and wait to see if this masculine initiates something. Because if they don't initiate now, you're going to be harping on them the whole rest of the relationship. Okay? Why don't you ever do this? Why don't you take out the trash? Why don't you pick up and help around the house? Right? Like, if they can't initiate like a lunch, no, you're going to have to continue to parent them moving forward. You want to see that leadership. Okay? So they're going to be intentional. They're trying to drive the connection forward. They're going to set dates, etc. Okay? So that's kind of how we can break this down. That's what I have for you. I hope that this was helpful. If you have questions for me, leave them in the comments. Let me know kind of what your thoughts were. If you disagree, if you have more examples, whatever it is, like let's have a conversation. Okay? And I will see you next time on the next video.